Is 2:08. This meeting for the Finance Committee for October 28, 2025 is hereby called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Keith Larson.
Here.
Alderman Dan Barreiro.
Here.
Alderman Edward J. Bug.
Here.
Alderman Carl Franco.
Here.
And Chairman Ted Masiacos is present.
Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to provide public comment?
We do not.
All right. Clerk, then, would you please proceed with calling the first item on the agenda?
Item 25-0806, review of the proposed 2026 City Budget Development Services and Information Technology.
Mr. Curley, are you going to be presenting today?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Alderman.
The floor is yours.
Again, I'm John Curley, Chief Development Services Officer for the City of Aurora. This is the contents of our 26 budget proposal. I've got the mission statement for the department there. As an overview, if you just look at the budget itself, it's a little misleading if you just look at numbers without understanding that Mayor's Office of Economic Development has been removed from the department, so it looks deceptively large, the amount of reduction from 25 to 26. So that table there describes a little bit of the math and the decrement proposal of 17.4% reduction of budget year over year. Our current year-to-date revenue are outpacing our year-to-date expenses by 1.8 million. And our 26 anticipated revenue still looks strong. We've got several larger developments and existing developments that will be continuing into next year. And some of those are highlighted there for you. So touching on the decrements that are being proposed, the position decrements, there's a loss of an unfilled CSR position in 1802 Development Services Admin. There's a loss of a plan examiner in Building and Permits Division, a loss of a fire inspector in Building and Permits Division, and the loss of an assistant director position for property standards, as well as the loss of a seasonal position. And I'll touch on those as we go through the divisions going forward. So looking back in 25, we had another good development year. Commercial new items in 25 that are underway, DAC apartments, the Luca Fox Valley apartments, casino continues. We've had some data center activity, US Foods, Suds Car Wash, TT Technologies, Freedom Graphics, Genesis dealership out near Fox Valley Mall, and a U-Haul expansion. There have been a bunch of remodelings, but I wanted to highlight the ones that are downtown: Touche, Art House, Foreign Exchange, Color Salon Suites, Sage Culinary Studio, the Galeno Hotel remodeling project, Vicolo, and Wildflower Cafe. I'll make sure I didn't miss one there, sorry. Looking at residential, this is a little bit of history for our residential development in town year by year. The darker blue columns are the single family and townhome developments. The yellow are the condo or multifamily apartment buildings. So there were 262 new single family units created year to date here in 25. You can see the subdivisions that are active there under the residential development tab. And I wanted to highlight that coming soon, we do have many 728 single family townhome units platted that we would expect somewhere here in the next few years, as well as 534 multifamily units that are underway. I should say Continental's underway, Sophia is coming soon. I wanted to highlight our rental license processing, which happens through several of our divisions. We've been working, the lower left graph shows you, we've been working from a position in 2019 where we had an inability to take online renewals for our rental program and have been marching forward ever since and moving nearly half of those renewals online this year. And we undertook some additional measures this year, which is I'm attempting to show in the right graph that we moved. If you look at the red highlighted area at the top of August for 24 and 23 shows a much higher peak in that month rather than this year, the purple bar. What we did is we moved a lot of that activity through some proactive measures to the 2 preceding months and moved 20% of that peak service into July and June, and we reduced our overtime by 70% as a result and improved our customer wait times, importantly as well. In the lower part of that screen, I'm just highlighting some of the things that our development services staff are doing to help some other divisions with automation in the area of batch processing of licenses and using our ERP system more effectively. So now touching on the development services admin portion of the budget, we're not requesting any decision packages for development services admin. There are some recognitions and accolades that I wanted to highlight. We, again, continue to have more permit tech certifications than any other community in Illinois. And we also, again, this year have been sought out for some national best practice presentations with KPIs for development at 2025 Engage Conference, and then some more existing building code usage of an application of existing building codes in 2 more conferences. One's coming up next month in Dixon for Illinois Main Street. Then on to the Building and Permits Division. There is one decision package in Building and Permits. The request is for an upgrade from a building inspector to a combination inspector. We currently have 2 combination inspectors. We're asking for an upgrade of one person to also become a combination inspector. As I mentioned, one of the losses and decrement that we have is a fire inspector. And we have a combination inspector that has the skills to do the fire inspection duties, but he's also currently doing other duties that this promotion of someone who's eligible for a promotion would help compensate for. So it's creating more flexibility with an upgrade to a current staff member so that we can try and mitigate any of the challenges that the loss of a fire inspector might create. Again, just recognizing Aurora's Building and Permits Department still continues to have the highest ISO BSEG score in the state. And as we've mentioned in a couple of public meetings, pursuing our upcoming code adoptions will be an important factor in keeping that score as high as it is and the highest in the state as well. On to property standards. We're not requesting any decision packages for property standards. And again, our staff holds the highest level of municipal ICC property maintenance certifications in the state there as well. For zoning and planning, there are 2 decision packages. One's for a court reporter for Planning and Zoning Commission. We're proposing that development fees ultimately would recapture this additional funding, but we need to pass those fees. Currently, what's happening is an existing admin is spending nearly a quarter of their time preparing minutes from those meetings. And with some of the additional duties coming back to planning and zoning, we need to dedicate that person to some additional duties, which I'll talk about in a second. The other decision package is for an upgrade from a vacant senior planner position to a zoning administrator. This is similar to the way things were prior to 2017, where we had a director of planning and zoning and a zoning administrator. What's happening there is as Mayor's Office of Economic Development has been removed from my department, we also are taking back the long-range planning duties that Mayor's Office of Economic had been doing previously. Those were being done primarily by Trevor Dick and by Alex Manella. Alex Manella did come back to our department, hanging on to some of those duties, but we need some additional horsepower in our managerial chain to manage the additional duties that are being required. Again, that's a pretty modest request for an increase, and it's partially offset by the lack of overtime. I think you might know that our zoning staff is frequently required to be at public meetings after hours, which creates overtime. The zoning administrator position is a salaried position, and that overtime would not be applicable to them. And then I wanted to highlight some of the long-range planning items that we'll be working on in the coming year. Non-conforming residential lots project will be a big project we're working on to try and create value or allow for things to be built on some of our non-conforming lots. You know about the data center moratorium. We have potential for modifying school and park impact fees, and some RFPs and RFQs for city-owned assets through our divestment group. Sorry. Whoops. Then on to historic preservation, which is housed within our planning and zoning group. You'll note that it's funded in a slightly different way now, so you'll note that there's $50,000 in gaming funds still devoted in '26 for the historic preservation grant program. We are rolling over funds from '25 that are left over, so there will be more than 50 for that effort next year. And we are currently discussing how prevailing wage requirements might impact that program. So right now we're sorting through that so we can relaunch the program here in short order. And then for the balance of the year, there is one WPA mural that will be restored. So to conclude, I wanted to say that Development Services staff will continue to leverage technology and communication improvements to offset decremented positions while maintaining professional and predictable development services.
Are you finished, Mr. Curley?
I am.
Thank you so much
Ready
for
for
that.
questions.
Appreciate it very much. You chose to come and present as department head, our chief. With that said, I will go straight to the committee. Alderman Dan Burrow, do you have any questions for Mr. Curley and or his staff and or Mrs. Stacy Basic? I'm sorry, Stacy Peterson. Sorry.
Hello. I had a question regarding permit activity and in the permit activity, how it is connected to staffing levels. So if you could touch on that. So you know the city's we're getting built out, and you know, in the future, I don't know if we're going to continue to see the building permit activity, or if maybe I'm off base on that. And so, is there a correlation between that and workload and staffing levels? And so, where are we now in terms of the ability to keep up with that demand?
Well, there definitely is a correlation, depending on where you're at as a community, as how you've been built out. As I mentioned in the forthcoming projects, there is a decent amount of work coming at us for '26, building out a bunch of subdivisions that have recently been approved. But I will additionally mention, Alderman Barrero, that a lot of our activity is remodeling projects that occur, which you all may not see as entitlements coming to us, but we still need to deliver services for all of those activities as well. So there is definitely a relationship. The decrements that we're presenting are decrements that were suggested by the department and divisions. And we think we can, again, maintain our professional and predictable services with the decrements that are in place and with the workload we see coming at us in '26.
Thank you for that. Also, with respect to the community, a lot of us attend a lot of community meetings, neighborhood group meetings, and the top priority is property standards and quality of life issues. So right now, with the current staffing level, how are we able to keep up with those requests and that demand?
It will be a little bit of a challenge with the loss of one manager. I think you would have seen in recent years from previous years that we have been using managerial staff to attend those meetings rather than bargaining unit staff. Part of the challenges with the bargaining unit staff is that the bargaining unit overtime requirements would require us to offer to more senior bargaining unit members rather than potentially the member of our staff that's actually responsible for the neighborhood who's having the meeting. So in the past, prior to my being responsible for their group, there were issues with not being able to answer questions despite the fact that we had staff members there. It didn't work that well, and we shifted gears to ask the managerial staff to attend. Having half the managerial staff, it will be a bit of a challenge, but I'm sure we will endeavor, including perhaps Josh Ream and myself stepping in when Josh Alcaraz may not have the ability to attend meetings.
And I have a question on one of the line items regarding demolition. So it looks like this year's budget was $572,000. That's being decreased to $100,000. What are these demolitions for? And do we recapture some of those costs if they're not demolitions for city-owned properties?
For the vast majority, we are recapturing money through a grant that we have from IDA currently. We are bleeding that grant down, and that's partly reflected in the expenses that you see. But there have been some occasions when the demolition, seldom, but when the demolition is not eligible for grant reimbursement, and the city has been using that expense line item to remove them for both the eligible for grant and the non-eligible for grant. We do have a few properties that we're anticipating getting court orders for. I didn't explain that. So these are court-ordered demolitions that we receive through circuit court after perhaps years of violations being cited, and ultimately we end up asking for the permission to demolish the property, and perhaps even try and secure the ownership of the property in the end with a lien of foreclosure for the cost of the demolition.
Could that these demolitions be put in a different fund and not in the general fund? Maybe that's a Brian question. Or a Stacy question. Or Kristen
I think if we
question.
look at the history of that account, there hasn't been anywhere near that 572,000 spent in prior years. I think the blip is probably from that grant money. Am I right about that? So it's not something that's been a high dollar demand. Could we shift it to another fund? Some of the other funds don't have enormous capacity either. I mean, it's possible if we have a need. It just doesn't look like we've got a lot historically, at least in the recent history, other than 25. That one's at less than 100,000. What do we expect to spend during the remainder of this year?
I think we're going to approach another 100,000 if I'm not mistaken.
Good afternoon, Council. Interim Director Josh Alcaraz for Quality Standards. Yes, we are expected to use a little bit more. We do have 3 buildings right now that we are in the middle of taking down and completing the demolition. So on average right now, I would say just about close to 130 to 140,000.
Okay.
So to most directly answer your question, Alderman, could we find money in another place? Yeah, it's possible we could find some, but some of those, but that capacity in a lot of these funds is rather limited.
Okay, thank you. I'll yield the floor to.
All right. Thank you very much. Alderman Carl Franco.
I just got a couple of minor questions. One is to do with property standards, the performance measures. So I see that the junk and trash investigation complaints on public property is going down for 2026, and the weed violation cases cleared are going down in 2026 from 2025. Is that due to staffing, or is that we just anticipate less complaints?
Bear with me here, I'm catching up with you.
Sure, it's on page 498, I'm sorry.
Yep. Junk and trash I see being even with 25 for the estimated actual. You're comparing it, I think, to the budget, so that third.
Yeah, I'm comparing to the budget, yes.
Yeah,
Right.
so the third column on that page indicates the adjusted total that we now see for a year-end total for the year.
Okay.
And we carried that forward. And I'm looking for weeds, sorry about that. Oh. And we did reduce the weed violation cases, and I have to admit, I'm not certain for the rationale for that. Obviously, the complaints that we get and the proactive patrolling that we do, if we exceed that number, that's what we would need to do.
Okay. And then my other question is, and I think it was page 495, computers minus 51,000. Is that because we have enough computers or we can't afford to buy computers?
There was a decision package in 2025.
Could you speak into the microphone,
Oh.
please?
Stacy Peterson,
Ms. Peterson, thank
Chief
you.
Financial Officer. That line item actually had a decision package in there for 2025. That's why it's not in there for 2026, because it was just for 1 year.
You know, Stacy, I could hardly hear you at all on that one. Could you say that again, please? I'm sorry.
They had a decision package in
Right.
there for 2025.
Right.
It's just for 2025, so there isn't any dollars in there for 2026.
Okay.
Jesse Kolar, Director of Building and Permits. So as we started to move over towards digital plan review, one of the things that we noticed we needed was better computers. So that was to upgrade the computers to be able to handle the workload.
Okay.
And that's occurred in 25.
That is
So we no
correct.
longer need that upgrade in 26.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. That's all I have.
Alderman Ed Bug.
Thank you, Chairman. Very quickly, in your presentation, I appreciate the presentation, you didn't have one of my subdivisions. So are we lumping Lincoln Crossing under Lincoln Prairie Del Webb, or we don't mention Lincoln Crossing anywhere?
I apologize.
And they
for
are
the-
full force going.
They are, I'm sure my staff will notice that too when they see
Okay,
this.
yeah.
Alderman, I'm sorry for the oversight.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I don't want any of those residents to be listening. Thank you for the explanation on the fire inspector and the combo. I had that question, and I kind of figured that's what it was. On page 496, though, kind of our meat and potatoes here. So we're going down from compliance officer 1 down to 5, compliance officer 2 up to 11. Is that because of retirements and then we're filling, or how is that working out?
Yeah, so what's happening there is that three existing personnel have been promoted by having met all of the requirements for a promotion into the PIMCO 2 role. So that's still the same number of staff.
Right.
The staff member that's reduced that you're noticing there is actually the Assistant Director of Property Standards up on the second row.
On it, okay. Oh, yeah, I saw that, okay. So we're just moving up, okay. And that's reflected in the numbers and salaries and that. Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Alderman Keith Larson.
Thank you. Yeah, my question was already answered about the demolitions, but I do have a couple of questions about some other line items. The first one is on page 481 under the admin section. It's line item 32-99. It's just labeled other. It's going from 24,000 in 2025 down to 0 for 2026. Could you explain what that 24,000 was?
This is the professional services line item. If I remember right, I believe this ended up having to be a couple of things. One was partially for a project that we're going to ask for to be feed partially by development or other governmental entities. And then the other was a project that's occurring now, and the payments will be made now and carry over to the 26th, so the project will be completed.
Okay, thank you. And then the other question I had is under zoning and planning, the decision package for the court report for meeting minutes. I see it's 7,000 in 2026, and then it goes up in the following years, 27 through 30. In 2026, is this, like, for most of the year going to continue being done by our existing staff, and then, like, at the end of the year, move to an outside service, and then it'll be full-time outsourced in previous or later years, rather?
So the difference is the $36,000 was, I'm sorry, Tracy Basic, Zoning and Planning Director. The $36,000 was when we actually had a court reporter that was a consultant doing it. The $7,000 actually reflects one of our old secretaries that was actually our secretary. Previously, she offered to do it. So I think that this first year we're going to try with her to do it, and then if that does not work, then that's where that $36,000 comes from.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. I might have, well, my first question was beat to the punch, which is perfectly fine by Alderman Dambrero. Permits issued, you're definitely down this year than you have been in 2024, and what you've already budgeted for 2025, which tends to correlate perhaps why you're maybe choosing to be one FTE less moving into the budget. My other just only thought I want to share with you in regards to Property Standards Division, something that came up very loudly and clearly in these town hall meetings was enforcement. I know your hands are tied to a certain degree based on these union agreements that we've approved, but my understanding is you're going to continue trying to figure out how to provide weekend enforcement, if at all possible, moving forward for our city. In this realm, but I guess the other thing too that I wanted to ask you was in Property Standards Division again, performance measures. Could it be fully coincidental that everything's rounded off to the nearest 10th or 100th across the board? Every column, every line item, it seems like, or we anticipate getting something updated here before
Alderman, Brian Caputo, Director of Operations Management. We've gone through, this is kind of the first pass on the narratives, and that was the, as you say, estimates that the departments came up with initially. You'll see that probably in a number of places throughout the budget. That'll be tuned up before the final publication.
Yeah, I just noticed it here at the dais. All my colleagues were asking questions themselves, so I thought that was like, what are the odds?
We've noted that, and the departments are going back and where appropriate, getting more precise numbers.
All right, okay, appreciate it. Perhaps, hopefully, that will be ready and worked out before it goes to committee of the whole, or maybe even before we have the reconciliation meeting at the end of this budget discussion. With that said, too, I'd like the record to state that Alderman Patty Smith is here at the dais, has also come in, and also Alderman Jonathan Nunez is in the audience as well. Since Alderwoman Patty Smith is here, do you have any questions you care to contribute or ask? I do not. All right. All right, well, with that said, if there's no other questions here.
I have one.
You have one more, Mr. Burrow.
Question, sorry. Yes, so this is not really budget related, but it's touches upon the code enforcement or property standard related issues and quality of life issues. And so my question is has the department considered alternative shifts or alternative work schedules to be able to address complaints for things that take place in the evenings or weekends, like such as illegal businesses and things of that nature?
There is a provision in the contract, the bargaining unit contract, for alternative work schedules. Those alternative work schedules are entirely at the discretion of the employee, not management. And the overwhelming, and I would say without exception is what I want to say, the staff members that are interested in alternative work schedules want to move their days earlier in the day, not later in the day. So in order to accommodate that, and perhaps going back to Alderman Masiakos' comments about weekend enforcement, these are the duties of bargaining unit members, and in order to accommodate both of those, I believe we have to go back and bargain, but I'll leave that comment for or response from the legal department.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Burr, I might be able to embellish just slightly. We've heard, Brian Caputo, Director of Operations Management, we've heard loud and clear from the alderman, not only Alderman Masiakos alluded to it, and now you're bringing up again Alderman Burrell. We've heard from a number of individuals about wanting other, I'll say, well, for the moment, off-hours types of service to the community. HR is going to be working on that in the upcoming negotiations.
Okay, thank you very much. One more question. I just noticed I missed a sticky here. You mentioned in your presentation RFPs and RFQs in regards to city assets. Will we be given any information in regards to the direction of what's the approach to dealing with our city assets moving into the near future here as a city council outside of this finance meeting?
I believe the intention is to bring those forward to present to council, so I'll make sure that that's known.
Yeah, and they always do come ultimately. I mean, as long as, I mean, I don't want it to be, what I'm trying to get at is like, it's not piecemeal to us. We understand, I'd love to know what the understanding is, especially for properties downtown. I've already given some direction in the past about it, and if there's going to be a change in the approach, or a modification in the approach, or an update on the approach, or all the above, I think it'd be great if the entire city council knew about it before an item came before us that deviates from what we already have discussed as a city council, especially with 3 new members we have here at the city council dais. So with that said, there are no more further questions. Mr. Curley, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Looking forward to the next one here with IT. I believe Mr. Ram Tyagi will present. We'll start the presentation at a minimum. I want to tell you that I'm very pleased to see that you're going to tackle it on your own as a first time. It's up to this point. Every department head except for one has chosen to come present. And I hope that everybody else continues to present. So with that said, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
And good afternoon, all the finance committee members and Chairman Masiakos. Did I say that right? Did I say it right? I hope I pronounced your name right. But yeah, I'm really excited to present the budget for 2026. We have been working really hard for last few months. So here is the budget. So these are some of the department priorities I wanted to highlight. These are the things that I always keep in mind every morning when I start, and entire my team as well, sort of, going behind these sort of objectives. So if you see on the bottom, we have 3 guiding principles: collaboration, transparency, and ethical behavior. Anything we do, we want to be transparent and ethical. We want to collaborate with each other. And also, data-driven decision-making is my first priority. So any decision we take, we make sure that there's a data behind. And also, I want to make sure for all the departments, including mayor's office, we make the data available for them. And also other priorities are, making sure that we increase our footprint in cloud, and gradually also we experiment on AI to bring some efficiency and also the optimization into our cost. Plus, we want to also become the leader in the cybersecurity in coming days, and we have already taken some actions this year, and we want to continue that next year. And next one is the fiber. We are sitting on a great asset with the fiber ring. We just need to see how we can capitalize that. And next, the last objective or the goal for my team is the community engagement. We bring a lot of expertise at IT department, and how do we make sure by engaging with Aurora University and other institutions to bring the labor that our mayor's vision would need in future. The next one is the slide shows breadth and depth like of our department, and I joke with Jeff Henderson that IT department budget is always the derivative of other departments, because we support the technology for each and every department for entire city. So you can see like this is just a glimpse, like it's not all the vendors or all the applications. If you double click on each of them, like you'll find many more. But these are the applications we support across different departments. And these are some of our accomplishments. Like as you see, like we support many applications. It's very difficult to fit here. But what I have done in last 5-6 months since I joined, I spent more than 100 hours talking to each of my team members, my senior leadership team, and bring that bottom-up engagement and collaboration, hearing them out and implementing idea that they want our department, they want to see in our department. Along with that, what we have also done is like we are upgrading our P25 radio system. That's in progress, and we intend to finish that by end of this year. And we deployed around 675 laptops across police, fire. Fire is in progress, but we again intend to complete by end of this year, and also regular laptops. So that was huge accomplishment for my team without any hiccups or any issues. We also expanded the data literacy program as part of my initiative of data-driven decision making. And also we are expanding the open data portal. You have seen the presentation in the past to the city council. So that's another thing going on. We also modernized the credit card payment platform for our finance department. And also the IT department has been very actively supporting all the city-sponsored events. We also conduct cybersecurity programs for residents and for senior resident, among all other achievements. And also, as you see, in the IT and cybersecurity, we were able to close actually we will be closing, because this also based on the trend that we see so far for the year 2025, we will be closing over 8,000 tickets across all the departments, the issues that are coming to us. Okay, here is the budget. So we have done a lot of work in last 3-4 months. In fact, since I joined, I was like going line by line, and we were trying to clean things. And it's not perfect, but it's close to perfection. There's more room, and we will continue doing that as we kind of experience things. But what you see across different categories, starting from computer hardware to like cutting some budget on our training and professional development as well. It doesn't mean that we are cutting everything. We are still keeping money that people need, to get certifications and all that. So there's money allocated, but still, we were able to find some money on that. So you see on the right side, we were able to cut close to $3.2 million starting from beginning, and that means our budget is at 15.1 million for 2026, which we started at 17.062 in beginning of the year, and last year it was 17.25 million. So total 12.4% reduction, including And you will be surprised why, despite cutting 3.2 million whites, it's still 2.1 million only, the reduction, because we added some decision packets as well as probably the salaries, part of the union negotiations, salary increments. Okay, so the next slide is about the goals for 2026. So as part of my objective of data-driven decision making, we want to centralize the data coming from different departments, because that's crucial to make data available for analytics and for easy access, and also making data available for the open data platform. So we will continue that modernization of our data platform, but also we'll centralize the data. On the GIS side, we are helping different departments. We'll continue the initiatives that our GIS department is taking. We will enhance, as part of that initiative, we'll enhance the indoor mapping for public facilities and city operations, like different, like for development and public works department. We are also planning to deploy managed print service to optimize the cost. We have old printers and we have printers that different departments are buying. There is no governance there. So we want to bring that governance by bringing the managed print service, and which will be centralized service. We also want to streamline the IT asset management, like how do we want to refresh the laptops, how we want to keep count of every laptop, every IT asset. So that's another big exercise we want to do next year. And as part of that, we also want to make sure that one third of the computers are refreshed, so that we are running on advanced technology and we are not falling behind, and we are not vulnerable to any cyber attacks or anything. We are up to date on our Windows and other operating systems. There's a big project, Mark 43 for CAD and RMS, that City Council approved this year. So we're going to continue that. We're going to have very efficient execution on that. The team is already working, but that's going to be a big focus, which includes 17 other systems to integrate with that. And also, as the new fire stations comes to life, we will also make sure that the technology rollout is happening there. And on the City Council agenda today, we have a consent agenda for a new partner on the cybersecurity side. We call them MSSP, Managed Security Service Provider. So we need 24/7 service for our cybersecurity incidents monitoring. So we have a new partner with a big savings coming in place. Close, like we started at 1.15 million. Now we are budgeting that only 500K. So big saving coming, and we're gonna start that implementation as soon as the City Council approves, and they will start operating starting January 1st. So these are some of the key goals, keeping those objectives, 5 objectives in mind that were on the first slide. And these are some of the decision packets. I added the total as well. These are essential decision packets. So as I highlighted, we want to refresh 1/3 of our assets or computers, iPads, etc., mostly laptops. So we added $50,000 in order to make sure that we have budget for that. And that's essential to make sure that we have the right equipment in place. And the next one is for 911 language service for our PD department, to help them translate in different languages real time. And I think if we have this software, that's gonna save us money on, that we are spending on few other things. And as I highlighted earlier, we are rolling out the P25 radios. So we are constructing a new tower on Church Road, because the current tower is not in the condition to hold all the antennas. And I think it's old, so as we construct that tower, we need to demolish the old tower. So we need to have some money for that. So that's 150K allocated for that demolition and removal. And the next one is for the community room refresh for the APD. They have been asking that for a long time, and a lot of I think this room is always occupied from community activities and their own activities. So this is another one to refresh all the AV equipments and modernize that room and fix things, because we are getting a lot of requests from that room. Things are not always working. And the next decision packet, which is for 100,000 K, it was 600 K, which we have reduced to 100 K this year for next year. It is for the backup solution. We have a backup currently for all our data, but it's not immutable. So we want to make sure that in order to, our crucial data to be safeguarded from any malicious attacks, we want to make sure we start that process and we have some immutable backup as well. And I think this can be multi-year process. So we start next year and we'll continue then in coming years, depending on what data we have left. And so the next decision packet for Matterport subscription is for our GIS division. So they have these images that our different vendors captures for us, and we don't have a space to store those images. So we want to have this Matterport subscription to make sure that we are able to host those images and we don't lose them. And the last one, the second last one, to add a security analyst. It's a technical position on our cybersecurity division. We want to make sure that we start developing certain controls in-house, and we are not dependent on vendors for doing that sort of activities, which charges much higher amount. So this person I think would be crucial for our cybersecurity division. So that's that one. And the last one is for our IT business analyst to be upgraded to project manager 1. So we want all our project managers to manage the projects, and now that division is smaller than what we used to have. And we want to make sure that we streamline all the resources so they are all able to manage the projects. We don't need a business analyst there. We don't need a system admin, admin there. So we have removed a couple of positions already there, and this position we want to make sure we streamline. I think that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for your patience, for hearing me out.
Thank you, Mr. Yagi. A question for you, if I may, real quick. With your presentation, you talked about an $800,000 decrement, yet when I look at your staffing, it's the same number from last year. Where exactly is the decrement coming from?
So the staffing, we are able to reduce 6 people in total. It's on slide number 5. And this is coming from not filling the open positions, okay, as well as decrementing some of the current staff.
So we can anticipate the 2026 column in staffing to be less?
Are you looking at these
Page 318.
These positions are across multiple IT divisions, so that might be
okay.
what the
All right,
disconnect
okay.
is.
Yeah, I can provide you
Okay.
each division. I'm not sure if this is updated or not. But
Okay. Again, with the performance measures under information technology, it seems like a lot of these items are rounded off again as well. Just now I'm noticing it. So
We're working on it.
all right. Thank you so much. With that said, I'm going to start on the other end of the dais here with Alderman Keith Larson.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. The first one is about the Systems Analyst 3 decision package. It says in here you're looking to promote a System Analyst 2 from within. That's what it looked like in here. So it's an internal promotion. Would we be looking to backfill that level 2 position?
Krista Heinke, Director of Financial Operations. That was actually an error in this proposed budget. The security analyst position was the actual decision package that was approved, so you're not actually seeing that in there. And right now you're seeing that other one, which has been disapproved.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that makes more sense, because otherwise that would be much less of an added cost if we're doing a promotion. Okay, another question I have, it's one of the line items, 32-80 on page 350. It's the 400,000 decrement relating to the consulting fees. I'm guessing this is because of the expected contract that we have on the city council agenda, the New Harbor contract coming in less than our previous contract. Is that correct?
That's true. That plus like we have done some cleanup and some synthesization of like activities and functions within that department. So yeah, that will save us a good amount of money.
Okay. And I have one last question on the last page, 357. If we are looking at the total numbers, when we look at the 2025 year-to-date budget compared to the original budget, it's down a lot from what our original budget is, close to 8 million. Are there going to be big expenditures that we're expecting in these last 2 months of the year? Is this normal for the budget to be that low and to have a bunch of stuff come in at the end of the year?
Can you, sorry, explain the question? I did not understand.
Yeah, the 2025 year-to-date.
Yeah.
The final one. Yeah, it's about 9.5 million.
Yes. So definitely some of the invoices will be coming later. Also, if you see like the last slide on my budget is like sometimes we need to cater for some budget, and we are not always using the entire IT budget for this. But for this year, for next year, actually 2026, we tried to kind of learn from that, and we did a little bit more cleanup. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all I have for now.
Thank you.
All right. Alderman Ed Bug.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to go back, and I don't think you were here for our preview, but we talked about this, the APD room that we're doing that upgrade.
I was here, yeah.
I asked a question at that time. I thought we had budgeted this and passed it either two years ago or last year.
I don't, yeah.
I remember discussing it. APD was excited about it. Did that not happen when we discussed that 2 years ago last year, or what? I thought this was done. I thought the APD room, I thought they'd already been upgraded.
So I was here when you asked that question, and I don't think we had any decision packet for that room earlier.
2 years ago?
Alderman Bug, we'll take a look at, trace that through and see if there's something we'd missed.
Okay. I mean, sometimes we plan to do something and then things change and you don't do it. I just remember talking to someone about it in APD a couple of years ago, and I was just surprised when we were doing it now. Okay. I just want to say overall, and looking at the numbers, and you being, whatever you want to call it, the new kid on the block, you did a really excellent job. You went through the numbers. You talked to your people. Smart, safe, reductions. And one of the things that jumped out to me, taking down travel and professional development, because that's been discussed in a number of the other departments. I was a little alarmed that was at $150,000 in 2023, came down to about $100,000, and now we're going to be at about $65,000, a little bit more in line with probably where that should be. So, no, thank you for a very professional job.
Thank you, and I'm still learning.
We're finished? All right, Alderman Carl Franco.
So one of my questions was answered. I was going to ask about that system analyst 3 also. But you have in here that and it was asked, but I don't know that I fully understand it. 6 positions were eliminated. Under the total for IT, I show 0, data analytics 1, and project manager office 2. So I'm not sure where the other 3 are, if you can kind of explain that to me.
I can talk about those.
Okay.
So, yeah, we did not fill data analyst position as well as network 3 position. So those 2 were open, but we decided to not fill. And then the 4 other positions were a PMO manager that we decremented and PMO admin.
And that was under which?
That would be under PMO division.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me get over there real quick. So I see the 2 there. So you're 2 out of that one, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then data analytics, I'm still there with 1, right?
Data analyst 1, and then network engineer 3 also we did not replace. So data analyst, network engineer 3, and 2 from PMO, so we are at 4.
Okay.
And then we are also decrementing director of cyber risk
Is that under the
and
IT?
compliance. That's under cyber security.
That's under cybersecurity?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I missed that one then.
Apologies, the narratives that you have in front of you don't necessarily reflect all of the changes, and they will be made as late changes.
Well, yeah, so when I look under cyber and technology, I see 2 and 2 from the year before. So that's why I'm just doing general math.
Yeah,
and
no.
It's just not adding up. So is this projected correctly, what's in here, or is there something that I'm missing that's not in here? I'm just trying to figure.
It's
I didn't make
projected
this.
correctly in the final number that I presented here, 15.114 million. That's corrected, reflected correctly here, based on my discussions with finance department. So again, network engineer 1 and 3.
Okay,
And then business analyst,
okay,
2 in PMO, 5, and then 6th is director of IT risk.
okay. All right, I just didn't find that in there the way you were
Yep,
explaining
no,
it.
it's
So that's
all,
why I was asking.
we are talking about this every day, and
And that's the only questions I
well
have.
thought.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have one more thought to share with you. When I first came in, someone very wise reminded me something that's very prominent also in architecture. Someone in finance who's also in this room, and it's always looking in something long-term, not just short-term. Looking at your slide here in regards, one of your graph, your bar graph, the last page of your handout.
Sure.
In 7 years, we've doubled the budget for IT. I don't know if the economy is doubled in terms of cost and inflation over those 7 years, but my question is, has there been a thought or is there a discussion going back to what IT used to do? When I first came in, there was also a certain level of services that were provided by outside consultants. And correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like we've made those full-time positions now, which those full-time positions come with added benefits long-term. Is there a discussion, a possibility outsourcing some of those positions again down the road?
So there are no discussions to outsource, but I would provide you a little bit of my observation. So we used to have multiple ITs, like we used to have the IT divisions for the police department, fire, and then also probably for water. We used to have people in their own departments. So what we see now, it's like one unified IT team. So that's one reason that you see the budget probably moving from other departments, and also staff moving into one IT department. So that's one reason. The second is, yes, we have invested a lot. We brought a lot of systems and applications and all that in last few years, and it's very easy to implement, but it's not easy to sort of decommission or sunset any system. So as I said, we are close to perfection. We are not perfect, and this exercise will continue next year.
I'd be concerned if you said it was perfect, personally, but because I think we're always lifelong learners and we always try to improve. But
yes, so we are here to kind of continue, sort of clean and improve.
So, but it's not off the table, a thought or a consideration of maybe.
We are
doing
not
certain
thinking
things?
about that at this point, outsourcing our services to outside, yeah.
All right, I
agency, yeah.
appreciate that clarity. All right. Alderman Burrow.
Thank you, Chairman. So I have a few questions. So with the number of city positions citywide going down, does that translate into any cost savings from less users for these licenses that we have? Has there been any analysis of that, or how does that work?
So that's true. The amount of money we allocated for our hardware purchase, like refresh, that already sort of accommodating some of it. In terms, so that already reflects that. But in terms of licenses and all that, we always true up. We assign the budget, and then we only end up paying like what we really had end of the year. So like with Microsoft this year, we are truing up for rest of the year. So we're gonna do the same thing for next year.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is like, you're not discontinuing any system or anything, right? You're just like, with discontinuing of certain positions, probably, yeah, you don't allocate laptop, but, rest of the applications like Bantech and everything continues, right? So it's not significant saving on IT side because of those decrements, but definitely there is some saving.
Also, there's a lot of software and licenses that we have. Is there like a master list of those, and is there analysis being done on whether or not they're being used and by how many people, and is there another way to best use technology?
That's a good question, and that's how you see that $3.2 million. Lot of work has been done, like cleaning up that. It's even, I would say, like it's estimate, right? 3.2 million based on the numbers, but I started that from day one, so it is even more. Because we did not keep certain things in account. But this exercise will continue.
So those cost savings, are they all reflected in your decrement list, or,
they are all
or
reflected.
maybe they may not be on?
No, they are all reflected, and this exercise will continue as we find more. But like, for example, Jan City, that all of you as well were using, but it was not used efficiently, and we were able to save $90,000 on that. So there are many examples that I can provide you from my sheet. We have already done that work, but that work will continue. Some of those things we could not do because of the contractual obligations, the way contracts were signed. Otherwise, we could have saved more money.
Well, that's appreciated.
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on the APD community room. So I had a board meeting there last week, and the technology, it doesn't look like it's the same stuff that's been there. So, I don't think this is the new, it's not been upgraded. It works, but, there's, wires and things on the floor, so I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to comment on that. Then I have a question on I'm not a computer person, but can you explain this P25 radio maintenance? That's in here in the budget on page 328, and that's listed at $725,000. That seems like a lot of money. Can you explain why it's so much?
So probably Jeff, you wanna come and explain? So this is part of like our 10-year agreement that we signed with them, right, with L3 Harris?
Jeff Anderson, Deputy CIO. Yes, this is part of the now we're into more of a flat line with the 10 years, the contract we signed with L3 Harris. The first 2 years were significant capital outlays to replace the radio heads on top of the towers. You heard about the Church Road Tower that did not structurally meet requirements to go forward. That's another we have put in. Now we're in more of a flatline cost. That is the annual ongoing maintenance and improvements to the over-the-air radio network, if you will, right, that we share with North Aurora. And so the answer to the next question is we do work with North Aurora annually and bill them back based on a percentage of sworn officers each city has for the services that we share between the cities.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And then I have a question regarding, you can stay up there just in case, regarding 1280, 1031 overtime. So it looks like we were spending about 190 for the last 3 years, and the budget was 42,000. Now it's going back to 150,000. Can you explain the overtime?
Yeah, thank
and
you.
Why it's so much, and what
Yeah,
can we
no.
do to mitigate that?
Thank you. That's a very good question, and thank you for your observation. So I also saw that, we allocate 40,000, but we have been spending a lot of money. And these overtimes are coming, like, when city council meetings are happening, we have IT person sitting there, just in case, right? So what we have done for next year, we averaged out like how much money we are spending in last few years, and we are not allocating 40,000, but we are allocating real money. So I think we are allocating, close to 150K there. But we are starting few initiatives. We have already started actually this year, where managers are gonna be like closely looking at like why this overtime is happening. Can we do that work during the daytime rather than doing on the weekends or after hours? So we are already putting governance around it. And also I'm also reviewing very closely with the divisions that have overtime, like for example, our service desk, as well as our networking team. And more and more you look into those overtimes, we will have a better understanding, where these people are allocated. But like, we cannot completely avoid that. You have these fiber issues that we own the infrastructure. We have the network issues, and these deployments happening, upgrades are happening. For production system upgrades, we cannot do it during the weekdays and during the business hours. We have to do during the weekend. So obviously, we cannot like completely avoid it, but we definitely gonna keep eye on it next year. And we have started that process already.
Okay, thank you, and I appreciate you taking a deep dive into the inner workings of IT and seeing how you can support all the departments and save dollars at the same time. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, any other questions from the committee? Alderman Bug.
I just have one request, since Ram is here. Can you introduce your team? I know your whole team's not here. Okay,
Yeah.
a few people. And then have Mr. Curley introduce his. I meant to, before you sat down, Mr. Curley, I meant to have you do that. So.
Thank you. Yeah, Jeff Anderson, Deputy CIO, and also Brenda, she's assistant to CIO.
Thank you for the opportunity to do this. In the front row, there is Jill Morgan. She's a senior planner with a lot of responsibility in historic preservation. Tracy Vasek, our Director of Planning and Zoning, introduced herself. Josh Alcarez was up here from Property Standards, the Interim Director of Property Standards. Josh Ream somehow avoided coming up here, the Director of Development Services. And Jesse Kolar was here as the Director of Building and Permits. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Okay, well, I'd just like to say, if I had someone like yourself presenting, I don't think I need to come up myself there, Mr. Curley, so if I was Mr. Ream. But nonetheless, thank you to one and all as well. Again, I appreciate you, Mr. Tiagan, taking the, I don't see it as a big step, but an important step in presenting your own budget as a new leader here in the city. And Ms. Peterson, I would say if you have conversations with the other department heads, tell them we're not that bad of a group. They can come and present too, hopefully, as well. Other department heads, their own budgets moving forward into the near future here with this budget meeting. So, yes.
I have one more thing.
Thank you so much.
Nope, thank you, Mr. Tiagan.
I did find for the community room, we did have a decision package in 2023 just to replace the chairs. And then in 2024, we replaced chairs in the patrol in-service room. So that could be what you might be referencing in the past.
Okay, there being no further business coming before the Finance Committee, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Second.
A motion by Alderman Ed Bug, a second by Alderman Keith Larson. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We are adjourned at 3:18 PM. Thank you, one and all.